That's the message, y'all. How bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? How bad are you willing to fight? How much are you willing to go through to make your dreams a reality, to make the life that you're asking for a reality? There's some mindset things we have to make sure that we get in order to get there. Every time you hear ET, right, he always, right, gets you fired up, right? Just from his energy, being able to transfer that energy. But if you listen to what he's saying, right, just understand, right, it's not as simple as we think. It's not as easy as you think. I have a dream and then boom, I go and get it, and then I just land in that. No. What did he say? He said life is gonna punk you, right? That's what's gonna happen. In the spiritual realm, we call that the enemy, right? The enemy comes in to steal, kill, and destroy. He's trying to distract you from the direction you're going. You're like, okay, I'm going this direction. Enemy's like, I'm gonna take you this way. But how bad do you really want it? How much are you willing to sacrifice? How much time are you willing to put in? How much are you willing to endure to get to the life that you want? Some notes that I wrote down that ET was talking about in there. He said, number one, right, you got to grow up. We got to grow up. We got to grow up emotionally, fit spiritually. How's your emotional intelligence? How's your EQ? How equipped are you to run this race set before you? How equipped are you to be able to go after the life that you want? Are you emotionally mature enough? Do you get too high on the highs? Do you get too low on the lows? When the enemy swings that right hook, are you down for 2, 3, 4, 5 months? Are we popping back up in a week? Are we popping back up in 2 weeks? Are we popping back up in a day? How mature are you emotionally, spiritually? How mature are you to get through this? We got to grow up. I, I wrote down the word focus. You guys have heard me talk about focus a bunch on these, but in all honesty, what you focus on, you get more of. What we focus on, we get more of. If you focus on the hard, the negative, the rough road, if the bad stuff, you're gonna get more of that. You're gonna see more of that. If you focus on the good things, the optimism, the hope, the faith, if you focus on that, you're gonna see more of that. So what are you focused on? Do you have a bad day? Right? That's what ET was saying. Do you have a full bad day? Do you allow a day to go by with it being bad? Even though, is it just because you had a bad moment? You got some bad news for 20 minutes. You got a bad, right? You had a bad interaction for an hour, but you let it carry out through the day. Well, that's a mindset thing. It happened back here. Well, how quickly can we bounce back and say, you know what, there's nothing I can do about that. Let me get my mind in the right place so I can continue to pursue what I said I need to pursue. How much are we focused on the life that we want and not the life that we don't want or the things we don't have? It's a real important thing. Some of y'all have been around for a little bit of time and you've heard me say this when we sit down with people, and you should try this when you talk to people. Listening helps you understand where people's mind is, right? Where their mindset is. So one of the questions we always ask is, if you ask, what does somebody want in the future? What is it that you want? If you listen, a lot of people say what they don't want. I've asked some of you on this call, right? I'll ask you what you want. What's 5 years ahead? What's 10 years ahead? And the first thing that we say is what we don't want. Well, I know I don't want to be at this job. I know I don't want to, right, have these money issues. I know I don't want this. Well, that just tells me you focus a bit more on what you don't want than what you do want. Because that question is forward thinking, right? So it's just, how are we thinking about things? What are we focused on? What are you focused on? And are the things you're focused on helping you get to where you want to go or taking you away from it? Are these old mindsets and old thoughts that got you to this point? Or are these new mindsets that are helping you get to the next point? What are we focusing on? That's what I wrote down. At the end of the day, right? Don't quit. We need discipline to not quit. You need disciplines. You need to put disciplines in your life. When when chaos comes, right? Do you have a formula for adversity? Do you have a recipe for how to operate life when adversity hits? Do you know what you're going to do if chaos ensues? You're going to fall back to your disciplines. You're going to fall back to your habits. So what are they? Are they good habits? Are they not so good habits? Right? I'll put it in context with our text this morning, 177 mental toughness secrets. Like always, it says the great ones choose discipline over pleasure. We're in the summertime now, y'all. Kids are out of school. There's a bunch of graduations. Things just happen, right? This is the easiest time to start choosing pleasure over discipline, pleasure over the things that we say we want. Sometimes, right, us East Coasters, right, in the winter, it's easy to like lock down because, right, you don't want to go outside too much. So you can kind of lock down in work and get a little bit more disciplined. But the summer opens up, or maybe it's just for me, right? The summer opens up, and then you want to go out and do some things. You want to do some more pleasurable things. You want to enjoy the sun a bit more. You always got to remember that we got to choose discipline long term over that pleasure, right? A disciplined life for young men, a disciplined life leads to a safe life, a healthy life. So we got to choose discipline over pleasure. Here's what it says in the text. It says when average performers have enough for the daily, or excuse me, when average performers have enough for the day and call it quits, champions are usually just getting started. Discipline is the watchword of great performers. Discipline makes the difference between the good and the great. The great ones will tell you discipline is more of a decision than it is an active skill. It's the ability to stay the course and complete promises you've made. The fulfillment of these promises builds confidence and self-esteem, which eventually leads the champion to believe almost anything is possible. It's a habit and a self-fulfilling prophecy built into one. Discipline is a logic-based decision that performers adhere to, regardless of whether they feel like it or not. Discipline pushes performers past pain and punishment. As my late business partner and mentor Bill Gove always said, it's easier to act yourself into good thinking than it is to think yourself into good action. This is the mindset of the champion. The great ones like Bill Gove don't let feelings interfere with their performance. Instead, they harness the power of their emotional motivators to propel them past the competition. Average people see discipline as a painful chore to be avoided at all costs. The world class sees it as the ultimate power tool for performance. Where's your discipline, ladies and gentlemen? Where's your discipline? Where's your discipline in your health? Where's your discipline in your financial life? Where's your discipline in your business life or your work life? Where's your discipline with your family? Where's your personal development disciplines, right? These are the things, right? We read out of this text because again, we're talking about world class, not what it means to be average. I know your neighbor doesn't do this or your coworker doesn't do this, right? Or your aunt or your niece or your nephew, like nobody around you is really doing these types of things, but we are the people that want to get to our ideal life. They may not want to. So we have to now start doing things a bit different. So discipline, like it says here, is the difference between the good and the great, right? It's the small separator. I wrote that down in my notes too. Life is a game of millimeters. Eric Thomas talked about that. He talked about the fact that it's not going to take you 20 shots. It might just take an extra 1 or 2 shots. You don't have to go way above and beyond to be great. It actually is the small separators. See, most people don't do the small things well. Most people aren't faithful over the few things that they have responsibility over. Most people are sloppy with the little bit that they're given. But little things like discipline is the difference between the good and the great. Where life is a game of millimeters, not even a game of inches. It's, oh, I was thinking of it this way. Let me tweak it just a little bit. And now I'm going in a completely different direction. That's what discipline does for you, right? And again, it says it in here. That's a decision. That's a decision. It's not a skill. It's a decision. When you say, hey, I'm gonna be disciplined about something, you've made a decision to be disciplined about that. You've made a decision to commit to a diet. It's a decision. So you all have that power. We all have that power to make a decision. I know some people say, oh, I'm a procrastinator, or I'm not good with discipline. No, it's a decision. You build it. And what happens is the benefit of it, like it says in here, it says the fulfillment of these promises builds confidence and self-esteem. So your disciplines of keeping the promises you make to yourself when you say, I'm going to do something, you do it, that builds confidence and self-esteem within you. That's what you need, right? You need the confidence to go off and get your ideal life. You need the courage to go off and have conversations and get some rejection and meet new people and have new conversations and step in new environments and push yourself. You need confidence, you need courage, you need self-esteem to do those things. If you don't have them, start with discipline. Start with making the decision to get discipline around some things in your life. Again, I know it's summer. I know times, right, transitioning, but what can we be disciplined in? What can you be disciplined in your financial life right now? right? What can you discipline? I know you got some vacations coming up this summer or some things you want to go do, but right now, like this month in June, like what can you be disciplined in your financial life? Can you be disciplined in just writing out your budget or tracking your money? Can you be disciplined in how much you choose to spend dining out, or how many times you go out to eat, or how many times you choose to click Amazon or whatever? Is there something you can be disciplined in? There's something you can be disciplined in your health, something in your relationships, right? We have to learn how to operate by choosing disciplines over the pleasures of life. We have to learn how to start to value that the disciplines, the hard stuff, is preparing us for the life that we want. Pleasure leads to weakness, right? The more you just do the things that are comfortable and pleasurable to you, the weaker you become over time. It will not lead you to the life that you want. The life that you want, right, comes after pain, after, right, the disciplines, after the disappointments, after the backstabbings, after, right, people let you down, after all the hurt. Like that's where it comes. It comes after. So just like ET said, you can't be running away from the pains. You can't be running away from the thing that you say that you want, but you know what you got to do to get it. You can't run away from that thing, whatever that thing is. ET talked about it. You know what it is. I don't have to tell you what it is. You know in your life the thing. Most of us know what to do, right? Give yourself some more credit. You know what to do. You know what to do to get to the life you want. You do. It's just, are you willing to do it? Are you willing to fight? Like, are you willing to get uncomfortable? Like, are you willing to go through that process? That's the question. And I'm going to encourage you and constantly challenge you to say yes all the time. The answer is yes. Are you willing to do it? Absolutely. Are you willing to put your family on your back? Absolutely. Are you willing to get uncomfortable and take all the no's, take all the right proverbial bullets so that your family doesn't have to? Absolutely, you should. And absolutely, you have the capability to. And that's how you should think of it. I'll never forget a mentor of mine used to always be like, Chris, you got to take all the no's so your kid doesn't have to take the no's. If you don't take all the no's, you don't take all the rejections, you're not the first man through the door. You're not putting your children are going to take those no's. They're not going to have the opportunities. People are going to turn them down. They're going to have to fight through it because you didn't take the no's. So I'm willing to take the no's. I'm willing to choose discipline over the pleasures. I'm willing to sacrifice. I'm willing to go through the tough times. I'm willing to not get too high on the highs and not get too low on the lows, just to stay disciplined, stay emotionally relevant, to be able to get to the life that we want. It's a big deal. This quote here says, with self-discipline, anything is possible. I believe discipline is the ultimate key to success, as it determines your approach towards every day. Discipline keeps you focused and keeps you performing at a world-class level. It's a big quote right there. I hope you take that in. Discipline is the ultimate key to success, as it determines your approach towards every day. How do you approach every day? What's your disposition towards every day? What's your attitude towards every day? How do you walk through life? Are you giving people hope? Are you passing along good things? Or are you taking in the worries and taking in the tough stuff? Let's not. It says here, action step for today on a scale from 1 to 7, 7 being most disciplined. How disciplined are you in the different areas of your life, like we just talked about? How disciplined are you in your business and your career life? How disciplined are you in your family and friends, with money and finances, with recreation, with health, diet, with your faith, with your spirituality, with your personal development? How disciplined are you? If I could leave you with anything, ladies and gentlemen, I'll leave you with this last piece. This is what we got to focus on in order to design our ideal life, in order to get to the life that we want. Disciplines, learning how to just stay disciplined in these areas, hold ourselves to a higher standard. No one should have a higher standard for yourself than you. There should be no one external from you that holds you to a higher standard than yourself. So hold yourself to these high standards, get some disciplines, watch how you build confidence and self-esteem, and watch how then you start to manifest the things that you're asking for in life. It all just goes hand in hand. Again, life, game of millimeters, game of small shifts. I hope this discipline thing is one of the shifts that you start to make this week. as you go out and make it happen. I love you guys. I want you to win. You deserve it. Your families deserve it. People are counting on you to go out and crush it. People are counting on you to take in this information and actually apply it so that you have the capacity to handle what's up ahead, because there's big things up ahead. It's too crowded down here at the bottom. It's time to get to the top of this thing. I love you guys. Happy Wednesday. We'll come back around and do it again on Friday. All right. Take care.